Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, O.J. Simpson has passed away.
Doesn't fit, you must acquit.
We'll tell you about the popular and controversial life Simpson lived.
And later, downtown Buena Vista is getting an upgrade. We'll show you the new vision for Town Square.
Just the energy here, the people, and the work being done is, once in a lifetime opportunity.
After that, severe weather slams the southeast. Madison Carlin and our weather team will bring you the latest local and regional updates along with your weekend forecast.
All that and more coming up right now on a Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Chuck Rutberg.
And I'm Claire DiChiaro. O.J. Simpson died from prostate cancer at age 76. His family announced his passing on social media Wednesday. The former NFL star and broadcaster's athletic achievements brought him fame, but as CNN's Stephanie Elam reports, they were eclipsed by his 1995 acquittal in the brutal killings of his ex-wife and her friend.
O.J. Simpson soared to fame as number 32 for the Buffalo Bills.
I'm sorry for all of it.
And plummeted to infamy as inmate number 1027820 in the Nevada Department of Corrections. In between, Simpson led a life filled with more surreal drama than all of his various film and TV projects combined.
O.J., are you a suspect?
Come on.
Mass media experts say Simpson's sensational televised low-speed chase,
I have O.J. in the car.
arrest and murder trial
Doesn't fit, you must acquit.
stand as the first reality show, and perhaps the greatest three-ring television phenomenon ever. Then later, Simpson was charged with the horrific murders by knife of Nicole and her friend Ron Goldman. The trial made lawyers and even witnesses household names.
Orenthal James Simpson, not guilty of the crime of murder.
When the jury freed Simpson, celebration erupted in parts of Los Angeles. But Simpson would never recapture his idol status. Simpson first sprinted into the national spotlight as the Heisman Trophy-winning running back at the University of Southern California. Then 11 spectacular years with the NFL vaulted him to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Simpson cashed in on the popularity, becoming a pitchman for Hertz and an actor, becoming well known for the Naked Gun movies. He lost the multi-million-dollar wrongful death suit brought by the families of his ex-wife and Ron Goldman, then moved to Florida. Then in 2007 in Las Vegas, police arrested him on several felony charges including kidnapping and armed robbery. In that case, Simpson and armed accomplices raided a hotel room in what he called an attempt to just get back some of his stolen belongings.
And I didn't know I was doing anything illegal. I thought I was confronting friends and retrieving my property.
The Nevada jury never bought his story and instead sent him to prison. He was released on parole 9 years later in the dead of night with no fanfare and no bright future.
In Lexington, a former Washington and Lee student will spend 6 years in prison for rape. Rockbridge County Circuit Court Judge Christopher Russell sentenced Ricardo Vergara from Nashville, Tennessee to 24 years in prison, but suspended 18 years of that sentence. Vergara pleaded guilty in December. Prosecutor Andrew Squires says Vergara will serve a 6-year sentence in a Virginia Department of Corrections facility, but Squires says he is not sure which one yet. Vergara will also have to register as a sex offender. Commonwealth's attorney Jared Moon says he wants W&L students to report sexual assaults to the police. He says prosecutors help victims navigate the criminal justice system. But Moon says his office never pursues charges unless victims decide that is what they want.
A report released by a special grand jury in Virginia calls last year's school shooting of a teacher by a 6-year-old student avoidable. And it claims decisions made by certain administrators led to what happened. In January of 2023, a 6-year-old student at Rich Neck Elementary shot first-grade teacher Abigail Zwerner in the chest. The bullet also passed through one of her hands. The special grand jury's report highlighted security failures in the child's, quote, many behavioral problems that led to the shooting. The report claims the school's former assistant principal, Ebony Parker, failed to take action after receiving 4 reports of the student having a firearm on the day of the shooting. Parker has been charged with 8 counts of child abuse and neglect. Meanwhile, the teacher filed a $40 million lawsuit against the school board and administrators. In national politics, GOP Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia issued a cutting indictment of House Speaker Mike Johnson's leadership in a new letter sent to her Republican colleagues. It's a significant escalation as she tries to build up support for potentially ousting Johnson, who has been serving in the role only since October. The two met behind closed doors today, but it's not clear if anything was resolved. Washington correspondent Julia Benbrook reports.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene sent a searing letter to her Republican colleagues on Tuesday, outlining her case against House Speaker Mike Johnson. She accuses Johnson of failing to deliver on promises he ran on and breaking legislative procedural rules. She also claimed she would, quote, not tolerate Johnson's push to provide more aid to Ukraine, something he had voted against before he became Speaker.
If Mike Johnson wants to lead that after he voted no against funding $300 million to Ukraine just back in September, he's going to make my case for me, and he makes it even easier for what I'm trying to do.
Her threat to bring the motion to vacate to the floor looms, but Greene refuses to outline her plan.
I'm not laying out my red lines, my triggers, a date, and a giant headline.
While a few House Republicans have voiced frustrations with Johnson, several are jumping to his defense, speaking to the complicated nature of leading with a razor-thin majority.
I think Speaker Johnson is working his guts out, doing the best he can with a lot of feral cats.
For his part, Johnson has tried to downplay the threat and is attempting to ease tensions.
Marjorie and I don't disagree, I don't think, on any matter of philosophy. We're both conservatives, but we do disagree sometimes on strategy and with regard to what we put on the floor and when.
Greene has not said how much support she has, but with upcoming resignations scheduled to give House Republicans their narrowest majority yet, just a one-vote advantage, there is no margin for error. While few House Republicans have voiced frustrations with Johnson, none has echoed Greene's official call to remove the Speaker.
Prices are rising everywhere, with wholesale inflation in the U.S. increasing again last month. The Producer Price Index is a closely watched measure of inflation. The U.S. government reports it rose 2.1% for the 12 months ending in March. That increase comes after a 1.6% annual gain in February was below expectations. The acceleration in the prices producers pay for goods and services highlights the persistence of inflation, and it supports fears that interest rates will stay higher for longer.
Your costs may be rising closer to home, too. Lexington City Council is considering whether it will charge a monthly stormwater fee for all property owners, including churches and universities. City Manager Jim Hallis says the fee would help the city pay for stormwater projects that address the environmental consequences that occur after a soaking rain. City officials estimate the stormwater fee would generate $500,000 to $700,000 per year. When it rains, cigarette butts, car antifreeze oil, and other debris flow down hills and streets into the Maury River. Eventually, everything reaches the Chesapeake Bay. The fee would impact all of city residents who own property with what are called impervious surfaces. That includes roofs, sidewalks, patios, and driveways that prevent water from seeping into the soil. Council will discuss the proposed fee at its June 6th meeting. For more information, check out our story on rockbridgereport.wou.edu.
Now, local elementary school students were ready for Monday's solar eclipse. That's because they learned all about the sun, moon, and earth in school. Claire Hamlet talks with the kids.
Several students from Harrington Waddell Elementary School gathered at Rockbridge Regional Library on Monday afternoon to watch the moon dance with the sun and earth, and it struck some of them as a bit strange.
It's like a crescent moon, but it's the sun.
Waddell student Wyatt Sorrells thought he could see the sun's corona.
Red crescent.
A red crescent? The kids were ready. They had learned about solar eclipses in school on Monday, before they were let out early to go and watch it.
I learned that it's a time when the moon passes between the sun and the earth. The moon goes in front of the sun.
Youth Services Manager Carol Jones said the library provided free NASA-approved glasses for families. Lexington Technology Resource teacher Jen Hall created a slideshow and other materials for teachers to share with students.
It's part of science, right? And it's part of like our life experience, and just like for kids to sort of understand what's happening and why that's happening.
For most of the kids, it was the first eclipse they'd seen. The next eclipse visible in the United States will be in 20 years. Where will they be then?
I'll probably be like going to a bank or something.
We're sure James and the other kids will be ready. Scientists say the next solar eclipse will be on August 23rd, 2044. With the Rockbridge Report, I'm Claire Hamlet.
Thank you, Claire. Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, downtown Buena Vista is getting a new look. Our own Mackenzie Kane will be there live with the story.
You know, the pieces are big enough and heavy enough that you're not going to do it yourself, but when you put a whole lot of folks together, magic happens.
And after that, it's an election year here in Lexington. We will have the latest on who's running and who's not. All that and more coming up after the break. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. Phase 1 of Buena Vista's Town Square project is nearly complete. Earlier this week, timber framers from across the country came together to help out. Our Mackenzie Kane is live in BV with the story.
Thanks, Claire. Buena Vista's Town Square is starting to look like the central gathering place city leaders envision, but the city square centerpiece wasn't built in a day. Thanks to volunteers of all skill levels, from experienced timber framers to college students, the new town square has a pavilion. In all, about 140 volunteers gathered last weekend on the Mullen Farm in Rockbridge Baths to begin construction. Even the nails were crafted on site. They finished building on Monday. Then they moved the pavilion frame's pieces to the square at the corner of Magnolia Avenue and 21st Street.
You know, the pieces are big enough and heavy enough that you're not going to do it yourself, but when you put a whole lot of folks together, magic happens.
The volunteers from as far away as Ontario, Canada, raised the pavilion's frame on Tuesday. They followed the design plan, crafted by VMI cadets Grant Andrews and Owen Clifford.
Well, it's really a neat environment to see the things that you spent time debating and going back and forth on actually being built. Just the energy here, the people, and the work being done is, once in a lifetime opportunity.
Volunteer David Dougherty is a regular on the Mullen family's timber framing projects. He and other volunteers started construction last Friday.
Well, first you have to have a good design and materials list. You have to acquire all your materials from sawmill or saw them yourself. With the plans, you have to do precise layout of all the joinery, cut all the constituent pieces, test fit everything, make sure everything fits together before you get to site and try to put it up, and then have a good time raising it on raising day.
The next step in Phase 1 is finishing the pavilion's roof and installing electrical wiring. City officials are still looking for donors and applying for grants to finish the project. The first official event at the pavilion will be the city's annual Artapalooza Festival on April 20th. Reporting live from Buena Vista, I'm Mackenzie Kane with the Rockbridge Report.
Thanks, Mackenzie. Now, Rockbridge County Revenue Commissioner Brooke Tomlin says the 5 new chain businesses that opened in the past year will bring the county $300,000 in sales, meal, and real estate taxes. Tomlin says the additional tax dollars will be the payoff from a projected $4 million in total sales from the 5 businesses in the next fiscal year. Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Jersey Mike's, and Dunkin' all opened in the past several months. True by Hilton will open this summer. County Administrator Spencer Suter says the county will spend the $300,000 to improve school facilities and buy new online textbooks for students. For more information, check out the full story on our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Lexington voters will face several big decisions in November. Voters will decide if they want to re-elect Mayor Frank Friedman. City Council members Marilyn Alexander and Leslie Strawn say they also plan to run to keep their seats. Councilmember Charles Alligood says he has not decided yet whether he will seek re-election on November 5th. Voters will also get to choose 3 members of the city school board. All candidates must file petitions and other documents with the Lexington City Office of Elections by 7 p.m. on June 18th. Roadmap Coffee Works takes an all-in-one approach to making coffee, and it's attracting customers with its unique flavors. Melissa Mbai and Mackenzie Kane have the story.
Roadmap Coffee Works managing partner Jack Scholl says setups like Roadmaps are uncommon in small towns like Lexington. Roadmap Coffee has a roasting room next to a tasting room where baristas grind and brew a variety of coffee drinks.
This is the type of operation you typically see in more urban environments. So I think it's incredibly special that we've accomplished this here in Rockbridge County, where there's not the same volume of people.
Scholl says the secret to successful blends is the unique flavors.
Maybe we want to make it a little bit more chocolatey, Or maybe we want to bring out more acidity and sweetness, and we would probably do different things to the roast based on what we're trying to accomplish with the coffee.
Scholl says most of Roadmap's coffee beans come from East Africa and the Americas. The beans turn dark brown after they're tossed into roasters. The beans are then blasted with cold air and packaged into bags for shipping nationwide.
Those bags go into boxes and they go out the door. And we do this Monday through Thursday, every week, every month, every year, without fail.
Scholl says he's going to capitalize on Roadmap Coffee Works' success. He says he plans to expand the brand later this year. Reporting with Mackenzie Kane for the Rockbridge Report, I'm Mellison Bai.
Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, torrential rain slams the southeast. We'll have the latest regional and local updates.
Severe weather alerts issued in the region today. It's drizzling right now, and rainstorms are expected to hit tonight. I'm Madison Carlin. I'll have more details in my 5-day forecast.
And later, my name is Billy Quealy, and I'll be bringing you the latest updates in the Shohei Ohtani gambling controversy in about 7 minutes. Stick with us.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. More than 30 million people from Texas to Georgia spent Wednesday under a severe storm threat that lived up to its name. Thunderstorms, flooding, water rescues, and power outages. The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency has reported one storm-related death. The storm system spun off a tornado in Katy, Texas overnight and another in Port Arthur, where an EF2, the mayor says, destroyed a Baptist church and a number of homes. In New Orleans, Bourbon Street emptied due to flash flooding. The National Weather Service warns damage, quote, could be catastrophic.
Here in Lexington, the National Weather Service has issued a hazardous weather outlook for today into tonight. Officials say severe isolated thunderstorms are possible with the threat of damaging winds, including gusts as high as 40 miles per hour into tonight. The winds are expected to stay in the area through Friday into Saturday. No warnings or watches have been issued at this time. Well, Madison, when can we expect to once again see more sunny Shenandoah skies?
Chuck, the sun is on the horizon for this weekend. This is certainly the most severe weather warnings that the Rockbridge area has experienced this year. Looking back at our live shot, let me tell you more about how the rain has impacted today. We started off with some light drizzles, and rain showers have been on and off today, with severe thunderstorms expected to hit this evening and stay into tomorrow. Today's high, 63 degrees, our low, 49. Barometric pressure, 29 and 64 inches. Wind speed, 14 miles per hour. Now that wind advisory has been issued from today into tomorrow, with winds potentially going up to 30 and 40 miles per hour. Humidity, extremely saturated today at 90%. Let's look at the radar map to get a better image of what's going on. Lots of rainstorms headed our way from the west. You can see scattered showers and more severe patches of rain, again, headed our way from the west. Let's look at what the regional weather has been today. Lexington, Stanton, and Buena Vista, 63 today. Rain showers, again, on and off. Charlottesville, a little higher at 68 degrees. Lynchburg, 64. Covington, 58. And Roanoke, 65. Looking ahead at the agenda, and we can see that the rainstorms go into tomorrow, high of 62 degrees. Hopefully the rain will stop around 8 p.m. The winds will stay into this weekend, but ending Saturday. Now, this weekend we have some spectacular weather ahead. Sunday we're going up to 80 degrees, and we will be in the 80s for Monday, Tuesday, early next week. Now it's only April, but looks like we're jumping into June. Make sure you stay safe if you're on the roads today. Back to you, Chuck and Claire.
Thanks, Madison. Now graduation is fast approaching, and these local artists have just a personal gift for the students in your life. We'll have the details.
And later, Billy will bring us the latest in local scores as WNL teams make their end-of-season push toward the ODAC tournament.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. At the top of the show, we saw some of O.J. Simpson's legal history.
And now it looks like another big sports case is coming together. Billy, can you fill us in?
That I can, Chuck. In other national sports news, the New York Times reports the former interpreter for LA Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani is in talks to plead guilty to federal charges amidst theft allegations. The Times cited 3 people familiar with the matter. Ippei Mizuhara is accused of stealing millions from Ohtani and using it for gambling. Mizuhara was fired in March after Ohtani's lawyers accused him of stealing from Ohtani and placing bets with a bookmaker who is under federal investigation. Ohtani later claimed Mizuhara stole the money from his bank account. The Times reports prosecutors now believe Mizuhara could have stolen more than the $4.5 million he was initially accused of taking. Otani has denied any involvement in the scandal. The Washington Lee men's lacrosse team dominated Averett University by a whopping score of 28-0 yesterday. Senior attackman Justin Lee racked up 5 points and led the game with 4 goals. The Generals are on an absolute roll right now, having won their last 7 games in a row. The Generals have 3 more regular season games before the ODAC tournament on April 28th. The VMI men's baseball team crushed the University of Richmond on the road in a game that featured a lot of scoring. The Keydets scored 23 runs in 8 innings, including 2 different 6-run innings. Designated hitter Brett Cook led the way for VMI with 5 RBIs, including a big 3-run homer. They travel down to Macon, Georgia to take on Mercer for a 3-game series starting tomorrow. Well, that's all for sports. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Billy. Now at Artists in Cahoots Gallery, Maureen and Rebecca Worth have created keepsakes that many local college students covet, especially around graduation time. The Worths make a variety of jewelry that mimics the design in the antique bricks on the city streets. Ruby Gregg and Margaret Beamdick have the story.
Maureen Worth always loved Lexington's signature brick design. About 20 years ago, she grabbed a big pen, took it apart, and used the circles inside to imprint designs on a piece of clay.
I started with the brick design by looking across the street from our home where there is a brick sidewalk. I could see the design in the brick, and I liked it a lot. So I thought what would be really fun to do would be to take that brick design and make it into a piece of jewelry.
She and her daughter Rebecca use a precious metal clay to make pendants, rings, bracelets, and cufflinks with a Lexington brick design. The pattern mimics the antique bricks on Lexington streets that date back to the 1800s. The Worths also created a line of pottery that incorporates the design. Their jewelry is popular with residents and local college students.
It's kind of a clubby thing. If you have a piece of brick jewelry and somebody else does, you kind of know that they're from Lexington or know about Lexington.
They start by rolling out clay and cutting it into a brick shape. They've created a mold that they use to imprint the Lexington design on the clay. They shape the edges and fire it in a kiln. They use the same process to make the jewelry, but with precious metal clay. They then put the jewelry together. The Worths sell their work at Artists in Cahoots in Lexington. It's an art gallery owned and operated by a group of local artists.
If you come into the shop, we're open almost every day. You'll always meet one of the artists that's one of the owners there to take you around and talk about their work and our friends' work. I mean, we're kind of like a little family.
There's more at Artists in Cahoots than jewelry. Artists sell blown glass, handmade baskets in wood, and forged metal. Reporting for the Rockbridge Report with Ruby Gregg, I'm Margaret Beimdeck.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report. Thanks for watching.
For more local and national news, check out our website, rockbridgereport.wou.edu, and join us next fall for another season of the Rockbridge Report. Good night.